What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to fix an issue that I've had for a really long time, and that is with these thermostats. Now 3 years ago when I cleaned my cooling stacks, which is the radiator and the AC condenser and your intercooler and your transcooler all in the grill, I pulled that all out, cleaned it all up, put it back in. I got a comment on there that when I went on the test drive, I got a comment stating that these thermostats were most likely stuck open, and I believe that is actually the case. It's been a long time. I bought these right after that comment. It was actually kind of funny, and then I never actually ended up putting them in. I just dealt with it in the fall and the springtime, and obviously in the winter I'd put the grill guard on, the winter grill guard on. I'd put it on a lot earlier than normal. And that's because my truck would have all kinds of issues heating up. Now in the summertime, it only heats up to about 165. It should be around 185, 190. It's only heating up to 165, and that's not good because it's not getting up to operating temperature. Also, with the addition of that, in the wintertime, it's only getting up to about 140 degrees, maybe 145 if I'm really getting on it. And then when I'm pulling a trailer, such as this big boy right here, I can drive, it'll get up to about 175, 180, and it'll chill there. If I'm driving for about an hour, hour and a half, then all of a sudden the temperature starts slowly rising up to about 200 degrees. Once I let off, boom, instantly goes down. Now the reason for that is I believe that these are stuck open, just like the commenter in there. I do appreciate that, I thank you. These are stuck open, so what's happened is the coolant's just flowing through the engine, getting warm, hitting the radiator, and continue on flowing. It's not staying in the radiator long enough for the coolant to cool down, so when it goes back into the engine, cooling it off. So basically what we're doing is the coolant is just getting warm and then cooling off a little bit, warm, cooling off a little bit, getting warm, cooling off a little bit. And then in the summertime and doing a heavy load like that camper, it's just not staying in the radiator long enough for it to cool down and keep the engine cool, and that's why as I drive it longer, the temperatures continue to rise. Now I'm not having this issue, but another reason why your thermostats will be bad if the truck is overheating and they're not physically opening up, keeping stagnant coolant in the engine, getting that super hot, and then releasing to the radiator, or not releasing it to the radiator, and then that's overheating your truck. I'm not having that issue. Like I said, mine's not running hot enough, especially in the winter. Now I don't want to damage the engine by not allowing this truck to get up to optimal temperature. That's why in the wintertime I rarely ever drive this. When I do, I got the block heater on, I'm letting it warm up with the block heater, and I'm taking it around the road, and I'm pretty hard on it in the wintertime. In the summertime, it's only running 15 to 20 degrees cooler, so it's not as bad, but we're gonna get this all fixed today. It's nice and easy. Let's get to it. All right, now we got these thermostats on Amazon, shipped them out Prime 2 days, and then we're going to go install them in 3 years. So let's get this hood popped and get these things in. All right, so your thermostats are sitting right there in that housing. There's a couple things we have to get out. We got to move this just a little bit out of the way. We're going to get the AC compressor out of the way so it's a little bit easier. And then with this little thing, we need to, this whole ordeal here, the thermostats, the coolant goes right through here and into your thermostats. We got to get this a little bit moving up so we can lift that out of the way. So we got to remove those clips because there's a bolt in the way. First thing what you want to do is crack this bad boy. You just want to crack this. If your truck has been running, I suggest leave it for a couple hours, or maybe just leave it overnight. But you want to crack this and kind of relieve the pressure. As you can hear, I didn't have a lot. This truck's been sitting for almost a week now. So just crack your coolant tank and you should be all set. I don't think I want to leave that all the way up there. I'll just maybe just leave this up here like that, just like that. And then let's get those connectors out. All right, with your battery terminals disconnected, got them disconnected on both sides. This is pretty simple. All you got to do is just clip this thing all the way back, and then take a flathead screwdriver in here, pry this right over that, and it unclips right off. All right, now with those out of the way, we're going to be able to take that bolt out right there, and that'll remove this whole bracket right here, so we can get this all out. But we're going to do that here in a second because we're going to remove the AC compressor. All right, now to get the thermostats off, there is a square 1/2 inch plug right on the tensioner. See if I can get this thing to actually show. There we go. And as you can see, my ratchet is in there. Now, because I have the pusher wide bridge kit, it actually goes over. It would be a lot easier if it actually flowed this way. It'd be a little bit more open room. But we might be switching over here to SDP here pretty soon. I would like to get everything to match. Either way, that's not a big deal. You can see where that is. It's about halfway through the tensioner. You got the bolt that holds it on right there, and then the belt sits right there. Let me get some light in there so you guys can see it. And then you just got to push it down so it swings this way, and you can take the belt right off. All right, now that the belt's off, I just got it laying right here, so all I got to do is just take that tensioner, put it right back up here. So we're going to take these connectors off. They just pop up right here, just pops right up, pulls right out. And then there's one right here, pop that out, pulls right out. If there's 4 bolts we're going to take out, 1, 2, number 3, and 4 right here, right there. Those are 15 millimeter, and what we're going to do is we're going to take those bolts out and these connectors out. We're just going to sit the AC unit up here so it's a little bit out of the way. We can reach everything nice and easy. All right, take this, lift it up, just carefully set it out of the way. All right, next we're back over here. We got to get this bracket off so we can get this bolt. This bolt will come out easy. That's a nice 12 millimeter. But we got to get this bracket off because the bolt for the other side of this is buried. So we got to get that bolt right there. That's a 12 millimeter. All right, there's actually 2 more bolts holding this thing on. I didn't notice that. There is one right there. That's a 12 millimeter. I took that out. And then there is one. It's a very difficult one to see, actually. Right there. It's actually a stud with a nut in there. See if I can get that light to show. There we go. There we go. Right there. That's also 12 millimeter. You got to go back in through the firewall to kind of loosen that up. Then I can get it wiggled enough to get to that bolt right there. Using the wrench here coming from this side right here. We'll be able to get it all out. And then this one we'll take out with just the driver. All right, here's the money shot. We got it right here. Loosen that all up. I'm gonna get that bolt out. We'll get that one out. All right, next we're gonna take this bolt out, 12 millimeter. Then we're gonna pull this one out, 12 millimeter. And that one right there. Let's get this thing to focus a little bit. That one right there, also 12 millimeter. And this thing should pop up enough to see the thermostats. All right, missed one more bolt. We got to remove this one as well because this whole bracket is all integrated into one thing. So let's get this out. This one is a 13 millimeter. All right, looks like we got to take these 2 top bolts out as well. Those are 12 millimeter. And now it's starting to seep out. All right, now that's drained. Let's take these things out. All right, remember the orientation. So the larger one, like the taller one, goes up front towards the radiator, and the other one goes towards the rear, towards your firewall. And I can see why these things weren't sealing very well. These gaskets are in actually really rough shape. Now granted, I did stretch them a little bit trying to get them out, but you can see there's an actual chunk here missing out of that one, or it's coming in there. But these are pretty old. There's over 200K on this truck, so, and I believe, to my knowledge, these are the original GM ones. You can actually see how just kind of dirty these are. So I'm gonna get those ones in there and we'll pack everything all back up. And just for a point of reference, guys, I believe this style, like this is the shorter one that goes in the one towards the firewall. These little like little tits that are in there, they go towards the back because that's actually how that one came from. And then this is actually the new one. The other one, they're perfectly symmetrical, so I believe it just sits there and goes in there just like this, running horizontal. So let me get these in here. All right, they go just like that. We're gonna set this saddle down nice and neatly. And I'll button this truck back up all off camera. Basically just do everything back in reverse order. And then we're gonna add some coolant. We'll test this thing out. All right, so it is a little bit dark outside, but I wanted to drive this around and make sure that we had everything all good. Now it's 44 degrees according to what the truck says. I know the sun's coming down, it's kind of rapidly getting a little cooler, but we're already up at 177, 179 now, you know, closing in at 180. I haven't seen it this high in 3 years other than pulling heavy stuff for a long time. So I'm just gonna take this for a drive today, and then when we get back home, we'll park it, and we'll clean all the engine bay up tomorrow. It's supposed to be 70 degrees tomorrow, so I'll clean up the engine bay a little bit because I did get some coolant everywhere, rinse it all off. I didn't see any leaks under the hood, so I think we're all set, but I like this right here, being 183, and you can see that's going 46 degrees. Don't worry about that check engine light, that's for glow plug 6. We'll take care of that here soon, probably sometime this summer. So we're at 185 right now, so I do like that a lot. I'm gonna keep driving around here for a little bit. I'm about maybe 5 miles from home, so I'll drive it for a little bit, turn around, and see if we just stay at 185. All right, we're about 10 miles from home now, and I can see the temperature on this thing is jumping up and down, and it goes about 185, and then it'll drop down to about 179, then it'll go back up to 185, and then right on our gauge here on the dash, it's actually at 210, which is usually where it's supposed to be. That 210 is where optimal temperature is. So I like this a lot. I haven't seen this in a long time. Normally it sits just above that mark right to the left. So I'm happy with this. I know we do have some air pockets, and that's probably why it's jumping up back and forth for the current time being. I did fill up the coolant level a little bit higher than the warm temperature line on the coolant reservoir, just because I knew that we have some air in there and we're going to drop it a little bit low. So I'm actually going to turn around and head home, and we will pick this video up tomorrow after the truck sits. I'll get it sit, I'll clean out the engine bay, get her back up to her operational temp, and we will take her for another drive tomorrow and see where she's at. We'll refill that coolant as well as we need to be. So good deal. I like this. All right, just got back home on the next day on the second ride, and this thing is sitting at 183 to 185. It's just bouncing back and forth. I know that I need to add a little bit more coolant. I added enough right to the cold fill line right before I took her out, but I actually don't have any, so I'll just go swing by it in there. So I think that there's still a little bit of air pockets in there, but we're all good. We have 0 leaks. Let me show you. We have 0 leaks. It's dry as a bone, and I really like that. Now, this belt really squeals now. It squealed once before, or not once before, squeals a lot, but not nearly as loud as it does now. So I'm gonna clean the whole inside of this. I'm gonna clean all down there, just where all that coolant kind of dripped out. We're gonna wash it all out, seeing how we get a nice, beautiful day. And I do have plans to replace the belt, the idler, and the tensioner, so we'll get that into another video. We'll deal with the belt squeal for a little bit. Check this out. This has gone 2 rides, probably about 25 miles, just sitting here right here in the headlight. So thank God that didn't go out anywhere, hit the road, or kick it up behind my truck. Either way, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'll leave a link in the description to the thermostats that I use and all the parts in, like normal. Also, don't forget to check out our Instagram and Facebook. They're both at Xtrodinary Duramax on both of those platforms. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment if you've ever done this. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Deuces.